Okay, we're going to show how to now do the tutorial. There is a Word document in the folder that you synced on GitHub onto your desktop. And in that Word document, it's called Contact Database using CoreData and UITableView.docx. Go and open that up, and it should look like this in Word. And it should say Contacting Database using CoreData and UITableView. So for this tutorial, you're going to create a brand new single view application. Make sure CoreData is checked, make sure it's universal, and it's Swift code. And then we're going to save it to your desktop. Project name is going to be MyContacts. And this should be what your screen looks like before you click Next. So let's go ahead and do that. File, New Project. And you can keep the existing example one up if you want to while we're going through this. Next. My contacts, make sure organization name is Rock Valley College. Identifiers as mine is. Swift language, universal, and use CoreData. And I'm going to save it right to the desktop here. Also, we're going to uncheck all but portrait orientation, so it's a portrait orientation only app. Next, we're going to click on the CoreData model, MyContacts.xc data model ID. We're going to add an entity called contact and 3 attributes, email, full name, and phone, and all 3 are going to be a string type. Entity is much like a table in a database, and attributes are the fields within those tables. So we'll click on My Contacts. Down here on the bottom left, click Add Entity. And type in, you have to double click on Entity and type in Contact. Then hit the Tab key on your Mac and click the plus symbol, full name, type, string, email, type, string, and plus one last time, phone, type, string. Now with this still in front of you, we also need to create what's called an NS managed subclass, which was talked about in the notes. So while we're in the entities area, we're going to click on Editor, create NS managed object subclass, and select the model, data model, my contact. Click Next, select the entities contact, Next, and create. And then we should finally see a new class called contact.swift. So editor, create MS object subclass. There's my contacts data model, which by the way comes from over here. Click Next. There's a contact entity we created called contact that we're going to manage to be able to create, update, and delete records within this entity. Click Next. It should force to go right to the folder view of my contacts, but we want to make sure it's in the right area. So I want to make sure and click on this My Contacts folder and make sure it's right inside of there, so it's in the right target area. So again, by default, it's going to look like this. You want to make sure and double click on the My Contacts folder and then click Create. And what we're going to do now is take this contact.swift and drag it into the contact folder. Notice it says here, choose for options for adding files. You want to copy it, create, make sure yours says copy items if needed, create groups, and then click finish. So what this did is it copied it, correctly into that folder that I want it to be. And I can go up here now and I can control click and delete, but make sure you do not click move to trash, you just do remove reference. So we've created a contact.swift, and this is what the class looks like. If we click on it, it just has a foundation and a CoreData import. It is called contact. It's an NSManage object class that has the 3 fields that we put in there, the 3 properties that we put in there, for the attributes that we put in there for the NSManaged class entity called contact: full name, email, and phone. So this allows us to use it throughout the application. One last thing we've got to do before we go on with and use the CoreData is we need to classify, make this a fully qualified class. In order to do that, we've got to click on the MyContacts.xc data model. We'll go to the class under the entity and change it to MyContacts.contact. Right now it should just have contact in there, I believe. So we'll click on MyContacts, and notice it says here in class, or the name is contact, and then it says product underscore module underscore name contact. I want to make sure and change this to MyContacts. And then tab away, hit the tab key. Now we're going to place some objects on the view controller. And we're going to place in there a bar button. Well, first of all, a navigation bar, then a bar button, 3 text fields, and a button. So let's go ahead and do that. In order to do that, you need to click on the main.storyboard. And over here in your object, scroll down to the Object Explorer till we get to the navigation bar right here. Click on it and drag it right underneath the battery icon, like so. Make sure the blue line is showing up in the middle, like mine, to know it's centered, and release it. Go ahead and double click on the word title and type in MyContacts. Then within the navigation bar, we're going to add in a bar button item. Now in a navigation bar, you can add a bar button item here and here both. We're just going to do one here for the back button. So double click on that, lesser than symbol, space, BACK. Then we're going to add in 3 text fields at the top of the object viewer, Object Explorer. So 3 text fields, click and drag one into the middle, make it about that wide. Mine looks like 213 pixels. That's perfect, that's fine. Then you want to do what's called a shortcut for this to make sure the next 2 are exact same width, is just do a Command D on your keyboard twice. That's going to duplicate those objects. Then we're going to put in here, by clicking on each one, we're going to go to the placeholder object, and we're going to type in some directions for the users to know what to type in this text field. So full name, email, and phone. And lastly, we're going to put a button here for saving and updating. Put it right there. And the initial text is going to be save. And in the code, we'll change it to update once it's been saved. So we'll do a Command S to save that. So we've done that. Now we're going to bind these objects to code. Full name, email, phone, and btn save are all going to be outlets. We'll do that first. In order to bind it, you have to click on the object first on the view, and then click on this icon here, which is the assistant editor. We're going to make some room up here at the top above overload, override function, ViewDidLoad. This one's full name. Email. Put some more space there. Phone. BTN save. So we did the 4 outlets. Now let's go and do 2 actions, BTN save and BTN back. Put some more space here. Change this one from outlet to action. Make sure it's any object. Touch up inside, sender, connect. Oh, do that again. There we go, it's better. And then BTN back. Control click. Make sure the connection is action. Connect. So we've got our actions, 2 actions. Now we're going to do some delegates in order to hide the keyboard. We're going to do delegates from ViewController on full name, email, and phone. In order to do that, what we're going to do is come back up here and click on the Show Standard Editor. We're going to do one at a time, control click and drag each text field to this icon here, which is a view controller. Then select Delegate on all 3. Okay. Now, in order to see what we've just done globally, we can show the outline editor, click on View Controller, go over here to this icon, which is the Connections Inspector. It'll show everything we've done, and as we hover over these, it'll actually highlight them on the View Controller. The objects will be highlighted on the View Controller. So here's our outlets, save, email, full name, phone, delegate, phone, email, full name, our actions, BTN back, save. This one here I can get rid of because I don't need it. So you should just have save under BTN save under received actions and BTN back. The other way, by the way, you can do that is I'll collapse this outline view here by clicking on this icon. One by one, you can click on the objects to see their connection inspector, one by one. All right, so we've got the outlets, actions, and delegates. Now we're going to add a UITableViewController. We have to select a, after we do that, we're going to embed this UITableViewController into navigation controllers for our app. So let's go ahead and scroll up here to the top of our class. I'm going to move this over just a little bit to have some more room. And I want the table view controller and drag it into this view. While it's still selected, I'm going to go to the editor, embed in navigation controller. Now we're going to move some stuff around here just to be easier. I'm going to take this original view controller here and drag it to the right of our objects that are on our storyboard. There we go. Okay, so with the navigation controller, after we've done the embedded navigation controller, which we did, we're going to select the navigation controller and change the title of MyContacts, and make sure that the navigation controller is the initial view controller. So click on that, go over here, type in MyContacts, check that. You can also come over here while we're here and type in, by double clicking here, MyContacts. Next, we're going to add a bar button item. Make sure it's bordered style. Identifier is going to be add. And then we're going to control drag that to the view. So right here is where we're going to put the bar button item. Scroll down to your object Explorer and let's find the bar button item. Here we go. Click and drag it right there. And we're going to change its style border, change identifier to add. It's going to change it to a plus symbol. We're going to click on that once, then control drag it to your view and select present modally. Next, we're going to select the table view cell, make sure it's a right detail style, type in cell for the identifier, control drag that view cell to the view controller and select present modally. And we're also lastly going to make sure the segue identifier is called update contacts. So we'll click on this once here where my mouse is, which is, it should show up here in the inspector as table view and table view cell. Make sure it's selected custom to right detail. You'll type in the identifier cell, tab, away, then click on detail one more time. Actually, it's better a lot of times to click away in the white part here, and then click on it once. Make sure when you click on it, you see style right detail before you do this. So if you see style right detail, control drag and select present modally. And you're going to select the right segue. So this is the right one. And instead of a blank identifier, it should be update contacts, just like it shows here. And make sure you spell it just like this, otherwise it will not show up correctly when you click on the icon to update a contact. So let's do a Command S to save what we've done so far. Okay, we've already done the navigation item and typed in MyContacts. If you haven't, it's right here. That's what this step's wanting you to do. And Command S, we've already done that. Next, we're going to add a UITableView class. In order for a class to work for the table view, we need to add a class for it. And we're going to call this one ContactTableViewController. So in order to do that, we're going to click on the MyContacts folder, control click, new file. Make sure under iOS source is selected, Cocoa Touch class is selected, click next. Then make sure the subclass is UITableViewController, and it's going to be called ContactTableViewController. Don't need to check anything else. Click next. Click create. And there's the controller that we just added, or the class we just added. So what we need to do now is click on the main.storyboard. Click up here where my mouse is till this table view is selected. You'll know it's selected when there's a blue background here on the view controller, blue icon, or blue color background here, square color background. If it looks like this, it's not selected. It looks like this, it is selected. With it selected, click on the Identity Inspector, select the drop-down class, and select Contact Table View Controller. And you can press the return key on your Mac and the tab key to go away from it. Then take your mouse and go over here in the white area of your storyboard and click once. Command S. So we've done these steps here. We've added the class, we bound it to the UI table view. Now we're going to add the code in for the view controller and the contact table view controller. So in the synced project that was down to that you did a fork and clone, there is a couple text files. This one here, contact table view controller and view controller. We'll go ahead and start with the ViewControllerText. And the way that I've done is I put it step by step what you're going to do for your code. So you'll notice step 0, we're going to add an import statement for CoreData into the view controller. So I suggest copying both the step and the description comment line, and then the next one will be what the code you're actually putting in. So let me go to the proper project. I'm going to actually close out my other projects here to save confusion. And we'll just have the one we're working on open. Okay. So click on the ViewController.Swift, and right underneath import UIKit is where the 0 step is of importing CoreData, to where we can use the CoreData instance. Step 1 is adding the manage object data context. We're going to put right underneath the class view controller. Step 2 is adding the variable contact DB used from the UITableViewController. Step 3 is within the btn back function button, we're going to dismiss a view controller. That when you hit the back button, it's going to go back to the table view controller. So it's the btn back function. It's in between the left and right bracket is where we're going to paste this. Step 4, we're going to add in some code to save for the save logic in the btn save. So all this code here I'm highlighting here. You'll notice the right bracket I've left out and the left bracket I've left out within the btn save function. Okay. What this function is doing is determining if contact database is not equal to null. What that means is it's a it's a contact that already exists, and it's going to allow us to update that data row in the database. If it's not, it's a brand new, meaning it's the first time they hit the plus symbol on the view table. It's going to take it to this one, and it's going to bind it to the contact database, and let us fill in that information with the information that we want for the new contact. With that said, I'm going to make sure over here in the MyContacts I updated that. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Step 5, we're going to add the hide keyboard function, which is right here called the touches begin. What it allows us to do is if they touch anything on the view, it's going to hide the keyboard by calling the dismiss keyboard function. And we'll put that right underneath the btn save. All right. You'll notice there's a red exclamation point here for dismiss keyboard because we've not put that function in. We're getting ready to right now. So number 6, add the hide keyboard function. Copy that. This is going to hide the full name, email, and phone keyboard if it's popped up on those text fields by touching anything outside of the text fields. Then we're going to add the keyboard function, hide keyboard function on step 7. And what this is going to do basically is if you hit the return key on the keyboard on the iOS, iPhone, or iPad, it's going to resign that keyboard by hitting the return key. And they call, by the way, the first responder. Step 8, in the ViewDidLoad, we're going to add logic to load the database. The contact database is content. That means a row has been tapped on the UITableView. If not, it's a new one. So I'm going to copy all this code right before the right bracket in the ViewDidLoad. And I start it right on the comment line. So right underneath this comment, do any additional setup line comment, hit enter, get a new line, and let's paste that code in there. Let's go ahead and do a Command S to save what we've done so far. So with that, we should have no errors. If you have an error, something was spelled incorrectly, more than likely on the creation of your outlets or actions. So check that. If that's the case, you can fix the code by making sure, say for instance, you did a capital F on full name, you'd have to do a capital F here, and anywhere else full name is used to work. Okay, that's the ViewControllerText. Now let's look at the next one and last one, which is the ContactTableViewController. Okay, step 0 on that one is we're going to import a couple statements for CoreData and Foundation. So highlight these 3 lines. We're going to go over to the ContactTableViewController.Swift, right underneath import UIKit, and paste step 0. Step 1, we're going to add to the UITableViewDelegate, add the comma UITableViewDelegate to the ContactTableViewController. So right now, by default, all you'll have is this. You're going to add in this, which is giving us all full control over the TableViewDelegate methods. There we go. Step 2, we're going to add a variable to hold the MS Manage object called Contact Array. And we'll put that actually right above the function DidLoad. Put our cursor here. There we go. Step 3, we'll add a ViewDidAppear, which will allow us to load whenever the view appears. And this is going to also load the database. Right now it's going to have a red exclamation point because we have not added that function yet, load DB. In the ViewDidLoad, basically we don't need to put anything in here. So on yours, everything should already be commented out. Step 4, you're going to add the function loadDB, and we'll put it right underneath the ViewDidLoad. And by the way, that should get rid of our exclamation point here now. And what this is going to do is going to connect to the delegate, which is going to connect to the manage object called contact that we added in the database for contact with email, full name, and phone. It's also going to declare an error if there is an error object, and then this fetch result is going to fetch all the results of that managed object contact. So any records is going to fetch them. Then it's going to put it in this contact array and hold it for us. Step 5, we're going to change the return key from whatever it is to 1, specifically right underneath in the function number of sections in table view. So number of sections in table view, notice it says return 0. We're going to change it to return 1. So that's at least one row. The next one is a function table view on the number of rows in a section. We're going to change that on step 6 from return 0 to return the contact array.count, which is going to give us a list of items in the array from the database. Step 7, we're going to uncomment the table view here for cell, row, and index. This allows us to load the database into all of the cells, row by row, onto the table view. And again, this one is called function table view, and you want to look for the UITableView cell in this index path. It's going to be the very next one, which is this one right here. So to uncomment these, you just highlight the comment before and after, and then we're going to connect to all of those, highlight all those, delete them, and paste step 7 in there. Step 8, we're going to add a show what row was clicked function. It's going to do a print line in our code. We'll do that right below here. Step 9, we're going to uncomment the function to allow us to edit the row, to swipe it left and delete it. So I'll just highlight step 9 here, and that's going to be right here. So get rid of the comment. This allows us to edit that row. Step 10, we're going to also uncomment, and this is going to tell us what to do when we swipe left. So uncomment first. And we're going to replace the code that we have in there with what I have here for step 11, which is changing the deletion swipe. And notice I'm highlighting right before the right bracket. And so replace everything starting with the if edit style equals line. If you want to be simple, you can just delete first, then paste, which is Command V. Then we're going to make sure when we click on the certain row that has a contact, it's going to connect it, get that unique record, and bring it over to the ViewController to edit. In order to do that, we need to do this last step here, which we're going to uncomment the storyboard, and we're going to highlight just starting with the if segue identifier down to the right bracket here I have selected here. It should actually be even with the if statement, this right bracket. So go down to the segue, which is now commented out, and we're going to uncomment it so we can use it for navigation. And right underneath the past selected object to the new view controller, we're going to paste that text in there. Let's do a Command S. So we're finished with both the ViewController and Contact Table ViewController. Next, we're going to auto size our view controllers before we test it. So click on the main.storyboard. Let's click on the main table view, MyContacts table view. Make sure it's selected with the little blue icon here show up. Then go to Editor, Resolve Auto Layout Issues, Reset to Suggested Constraints. We're going to do the same with ViewController. Editor, Resolve Auto Layout Issues, Reset to Suggested Constraints. Now let's do a Command R and test our application. I'm doing an iPhone 6, which was the last simulator we used, which is fine. And I already have some in here from prior ones, so I'm going to go home here and delete this one. There we go. I'm going to do mine one more time here. There we go. And go ahead and click on the plus symbol. Let's type in 2 or 3. Let's do 3 contacts like we did before. So we've got 3 contacts. We're going to edit the Tom Jones, and let's say you want some more official first name. We're going to do Thomas Jones. Tap Update, and then we'll swipe left to see if the deletion's working, which it is. And that concludes creating a MyContact database using CoreData. Good job.